Let's implement the logic to pass the real ingredients we picked onto the checkout container. I'll do this here in my burger builder component, obviously, where I push to the checkout page. There, I now want to push a JavaScript object where I'll set path name to /checkout, but where I then can specify a search parameter, a search query, which is how I want to pass the ingredients. Now, for that, I of course somehow need to encode my ingredients into such a search query. How can I do that? I will create a new constant which I'll name query params. The name is up to you, of course. And this shall be an empty array initially. Then I want to add elements to that array. I'll do this with a for loop, and I'll loop through all the properties in this state ingredients, so in the ingredients I have. Now I will push each ingredient to this query params array, but there I will use a little helper method which is provided by JavaScript, encode URI component, which simply encodes my elements such that they can be used in the URL. This is relevant for whitespace and so on. There I'll use the property name I, which wouldn't need encoding in my case because it will work like that, salad and so on. These are all non-critical elements. Then add a equal sign because we have key equals something in query params. And then also encode the value. Again, this wouldn't really be needed here because the value is just a number which is non-critical. But here I'll then use this state ingredients for the key we're currently at. So I is the key. These are the property names in my ingredients in the end just. And here I'm setting property name equal to, well, the value for that property name. So this is an array which now just has a couple of strings, which is property name equal property value. Now this array of strings is what I want to join with an and sign. So I'll add a query string constant here, where I'll use my query params array, call the join method and join it with the and sign. And then finally, I want to attach it here with question mark and then my query string, which is just my string of, well, ingredients. Let me save this and let's see if that works. If I go back to the burger builder, and yes, the links aren't good links, they are still the old links which reload the app, but it's fine for now. So let's build a burger now. Click order now and click continue. And you can see that I do pass it on like this in the URL. Now, of course, I need to parse this in the checkout component. And there I'll do this in component did mount. I won't use component did update or anything like that, because whenever I load this component, it will mount itself. There is no way I can route to it without it being mounted again, because it's not nested in some other page or anything like that. Now in there, I want to use the code you saw before to extract the query parameters. I'll create a new constant, which I'll name query, where I use the URL search params constructor, pass this props location search, which includes the question mark and so on. But with URL search params, I can basically extract that. Then I'll add a new ingredients object here because I want to store an ingredients object in this form here in the state. And then I will use for let param of query entries, as you learned, to loop through the different query params. And I said that each entry will have this format, the key like salad, and then the value like 1. Now, of course, I want to turn this into this object format. So I will simply say ingredient param element 0, which is just a name like this, which is then used as a property name and added to that ingredient object, should be equal to, and now comes the value, which is just param element 1, this value. And we can convert this into a number by adding a plus. And of course, this should be ingredients here using this JavaScript object. Now, once this is done, I can call this set state and hopefully successfully set my ingredients to the ingredients I created and extracted here. Let's save this and let's see if it works. Looks pretty good. If I now manually change, let's say the cheese to 2 in the query parameter, we extract and load this successfully. So now we're able to pass the data with query params, a huge advancement of course. Let's next work on that contact data.